Hi, John here, the hat guy. So if you were going to take over the world, there's a list of things you would need to accomplish in order to make that happen. I've created that list. It's an easy 7-step process. How to take over the world. Step 1. Create a worldwide panic that causes people to look to their respective governments for help. We can check that one off the list. Step 2. Ban gathering of large groups of people. We can check that one off the list. Step 3. Limit or regulate domestic travel. Check that one off the list as well. Or at least strongly working on that one. Step 4. Ration consumables like food and toiletries. Working on that one as we speak. Obvious there's nothing there in the stores anymore. It's been 2 weeks. I know people are panicking. The panic buying isn't going to last for 2 solid weeks. Yet there's nothing in the stores. Granted, I know a lot of the restaurants are closed down, so the demand on grocery stores is higher. Having said that, I think it's all part of a way to ease us into the thought of rationing of these items. Step 5. Outlaw guns. They've been trying that for decades. At some point, that idea will work. It's not yet. It hasn't. Right now, you can't find ammo anywhere. If you have a gun and you made the foolish move of not stocking up on ammo when you bought it, or keeping your supply replenished as you used it, then what you have is an expensive paperweight because you can't buy ammo anymore. These people are panic buying the ammo. Fully understand that one. These are people who are concerned about what may be happening, such as this list of how to take over the world. Step 6. Confiscate business, industry, and personal property. We're actually starting to see some of that particular step happening already. The confiscation of businesses and industries and personal property hasn't really happened yet, but the government has decreed, and that's the only word that is appropriate here, they have decreed that certain businesses will not operate right now. For example, most states, if you have a restaurant, you can't have an inside dining right now. It has to be carry-out only. If you have a bar, you have to shut it down unless it's also a restaurant. If you, in some areas, and this isn't all of them, but in some areas, if you run a beauty salon or a nail salon or any kind of spa-like environment, that has to be shut down. The banning of gathering of large groups of people, step 2, that one has been accomplished for the large part everywhere. That's in direct violation of your First Amendment's rights. The First Amendment guarantees you the right of assembly, among other things. Also the freedom of the press, freedom of religion, that sort of thing. But it guarantees you the right of assembly, and the right of assembly has been taken away from us. That's a First Amendment right. And it's one of the most important ones. Let's say you're trying to take over the world. Let's even make it less than that. You're just trying to take over this country. What's the one thing that stands in your way? People. With the number of guns in this country, and the number of people who know how to use them in this country, that's a big deterrent for people to try to take this country over. Like I said on here before, they've been trying to get rid of the Second Amendment for years, many decades. They've been trying to get rid of the Second Amendment. They, meaning the government, most of the people on the left, some of the people on the right, but most of the liberal side of the government does not want the general population to have access to firearms of any kind. The reason for that is they want to control our lives. They don't want us to have the ability to rise up and overthrow a tyrannical government. That's the Second Amendment. What they want is to be able to control every aspect of our lives. They've tried to take our Second Amendment rights away for many years, many decades, and they've failed. What's the next thing they can do? They can take away our right of assembly, which they've done. If they take away the right of assembly, they've now made it illegal for 10 or more people to gather together for any reason. That's now breaking the law. If you can't take away the guns, you take away the people's ability to use them and their ability to get together. You restrict their freedom, you restrict their movements, and you restrict their ability to gather together. You basically have put all of us on house arrest. The Second Amendment guarantees us, the private citizen, the right to rise up against a tyrannical government and overthrow it. It doesn't guarantee us the right to keep and bear arms. It assures us that that right can be used to overthrow a government that has taken too much power on itself. The right to bear arms was understood as a given. It was understood that that was a right. The Second Amendment merely says the government can't do anything about that. It can't restrict it, it can't take it away from you, and it can't take away your right to rise up and overthrow the government if the government overreaches. You got to remember, when this country was founded, they had just overthrown a monarch who was very controlling. They didn't want to be controlled. So that's why they instituted the Bill of Rights. First and Second Amendments, particularly in this particular case, are important. But I said there were 7 steps. I gave 6 of them. What is step 7? Step 7 is a good one. Step 7 is sit back and enjoy your new role as emperor. We've already done all of some of these steps and are strongly headed towards fulfilling the other of these steps, and have at least taken measures to push that idea along for these other steps. Is there a nefarious plot brewing? Is there some evil villain somewhere holed up in a lair, like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies, looking to take over the world, or some crazy plan like what the little cartoon mice of Pinky and the Brain would come up with? Or is it simply some of the more conventional conspiracy theories, if you will, that have the secret groups of people who are controlling everything, deciding that it's time to rise up and take over everything? Any of those are possible. The last one is probably the most popular, or possible rather. In my opinion, this is what will happen. If, in fact, this is assuming, in fact, that all of this is a nefarious plot to take over the world, which I truly believe it is. The Bible tells us that at some point in the future, the world will have a one world government, and it will be made up of 10 kingdoms or regions. The interesting fact about that is the United Nations, which is a governing body of sorts over the whole world, has the world divided into 10 regions for response to emergencies. Well, the biggest emergency the world has seen is what's going on right now. And whether it's a real emergency or a fabricated emergency is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. The point is, people are panicking. Governments are panicking around the world, not just here. And people are afraid. And governments are taking rights away from people and telling them what they can and can't do. In some cities, in fact, in some states, I think the count is up to 5 states now, that you're not even supposed to leave your house unless it's to go to the doctor or to a pharmacy or to a grocery store. That's it. You're not allowed to even leave your home. The thought behind that's never happened on a global scale in this world, and yet here we are. as someone who studies end-time biblical prophecy, the idea that a one-world government would form, and that all of the details that are given about it in the book of Revelation and in Daniel and several of the other books that talk about this end-time government, I believe it because I believe the Bible. But I've always found it hard to believe that a country that is as strong and as vibrant and as successful as the United States of America is, I found it extremely difficult to believe that we would just roll over and hand what we have to some world dictator. However, having said that, over the course of these past 2 weeks, I've changed my mind. It's blatantly obvious to me that that is a scenario that could be possible. Is it going to happen with this? Is this the final lead up into the end time events? It could be. I think it is. It also could be a trial run. Let's work the bugs out and see what else we need to think of before we do this kind of a thing. That's also possible. The point is, it's become possible it's become obvious to a lot of us that whether or not this is the actual event, or if someone is trying to take over the world right now, doesn't matter. Well, it matters. But the point is, we have learned now that it would be easy to do. And our Second Amendment, the Second Amendment is only valid if people stand up and use it. And taking away your right to assembly, pastor of our church called, they sent a text actually a couple of days ago saying, all church services and events are canceled until further notice to be in compliance with the law. That was his wording of that. Now, if that's not a violation of a First Amendment right, I don't know what is. Are there churches still meeting together and practicing? Yes, I know of several. Will that continue? Probably will. But at some point, they'll have to go underground, so to speak, so as to not be arrested, thrown in jail, fined. I don't know what'll happen. I do know that here in Jacksonville, Florida, in Jacksonville Beach, Florida specifically, and the other beaches in Duval County, Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach, the police are patrolling the beach to fine or arrest, I don't know what the case would be, trespassers who happen to just walk out onto the beach. It's now illegal in Duval County, Florida, to step foot on the beach. On the beach, an open area of ground in this country that doesn't even have plants on it. It's just sand and the shore. We're not allowed to walk out to the ocean in this county. That's an astonishing thing to me. I've never seen it in this country before. Now, granted, this country has done some strange things in the past, and they've taken the rights away from citizens in the past. Talk to anyone who is of Japanese descent who remembers the events around World War II. Now, granted, these people are rather up in age at this point. World War II was a long time ago. But the government rounded up anybody who had Japanese ancestors or were a Japanese immigrant themselves and put them in concentration camps here in America, simply because they were of Japanese heritage. Was it right? No. Did they feel justified for doing it? Yes, they did. Does that make it right? No, it doesn't. Yet that's what we're seeing right now. Not for a specific race of people or a specific group of people, but for everybody. The only people allowed on the beach right now are police officers and, ironically, lifeguards. Not sure why the lifeguards are allowed on the beach, because there's no one to guard. But that's the only people who are allowed on the beach right now. Lifeguards and the police. And the whole reason any of them are there is to patrol for people trespassing. But when you take away my right to go to church, to worship God in the manner that I choose, that's unthinkable for America. I would understand that in places like China. China's been shutting churches down and killing people for being Christians for a while now. And they're not the only ones. North Korea is a big fan of that kind of action too. Anybody who has a communist nation, that's what they do. And this one world government the Bible talks about, it's a totalitarian dictatorship. It's some scary times here. Pay attention. Watch what's going on. Stay vigilant. And pray. I'm the Hat Guy, and that's my opinion.